Good morning, ladies. I hope you've had a great week and just want to share with you about a lady who had grateful faith. We find her in Luke chapter 15, verses 8 to 10. This chapter has 3 of Jesus' parables, and these parables are actually addressed to publicans and sinners who drew near to hear him. But there were also some people there. We find them in verse 2, the Pharisees and the scribes. But they're grumbling and saying, "This man receives sinners and eats with them." As Jesus tells these stories, these parables, his heart is on display. The religious leaders ostracized the tax collectors and sinners, almost as if they were scum. They felt unclean to be around them. But the group of people that flocked to hear Jesus teach, and they responded, were the publicans and sinners. The Pharisees and the scribes would have considered themselves better than such persons. Let's think about these 3 parables. The first one is about a lost sheep. The middle one that we're going to look at is about an unnamed woman who searches for a lost coin. And the last one tells us about a lost son. Each of these followed the same pattern. Something is lost, a search is made, an item is found, and rejoicing follows. So let's read the 3 verses that tell us about our friend. Or what woman, having 10 silver coins, if she loses a coin, does not light a lamp and sweep the house and seek diligently until she finds it? And when she has found it, calls together her friends and neighbors, saying, "Rejoice with me, for I found the coin that I lost." Just so, I tell you, there's joy before the angels of God over one sinner who repents. So, what do we know? We know this lady has 10 silver coins. A drachma was a silver coin worth about a day's wages for a common laborer. She had 10 of these. One commentator said often these coins were sewn into the headdress that these women wore because it was part of the family's wealth. Would her husband be upset over the lost coin? We know she was upset. What would we do if we lost a day's wages? She did exactly what we would do. She would search. So what does she do? First of all, she lights a lamp. That may seem a little strange to us, but what we must remember is most of those homes were one-room, windowless dwellings. She needed light to aid in her search. And then she sweeps the house. Her broom was probably made of palm twigs, and she's diligently sweeping while she's what? Searching thoroughly every nook and cranny. You and I might call that a scouring process. But once she finds that coin, she calls her friends and neighbors together to rejoice, to celebrate with her. And what does she say? "I have found the coin." But its literal translation is I have found the coin. That's a language of joy because it's expressed in repetition. In each of these parables, what is Jesus' focus on? Lost souls. So look back at verse 10. Just so, I tell you, there is joy in heaven before the angels of God over one sinner who repents. God is the one who initiates the search for a lost soul. The shepherd sought his one lost sheep out of 100. This woman searches high and low for her one lost coin out of 10. God is challenging you and me to seek the lost, to diligently search, and to minister to them. What lengths did God go to woo us to himself? Well, we know the extravagant price he paid to provide for our salvation, and that was the death of his only begotten Son on Calvary. But we have to remember that was his plan from eternity past. No wonder angels rejoice over one sinner that repents. It is natural for us to place value on our possessions. And likewise, God views every sinner with compassion, not merely a possession, but as a person, created in his image, lost, but loved as a son. And he goes to great lengths to draw us to himself. Some would say God's really aloof. He's not concerned about our human affairs. But in these three parables, we are taught he is deeply concerned about every individual. Luke 19:10 records, the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. So there is a familiar process here, a pattern. Sinners are lost. They're sought by the Holy Spirit. Christ provided their salvation. They're found by God. And what happens? There's rejoicing in heaven. Are we doing our part in the place where God has called us to serve? May you and I search as diligently as this unnamed sister did for her coin in bringing other people to Jesus. Have a great week.